Today we'll be discussing the disk/washer method. So first of all, a washer is basically a disk, but a disk has a little r of 0. And you'll see what that means in a second. So first, let me tell you the steps. Step 1 is to sketch the bounded region. Step 2 is to identify the intersection. Step 3 is to identify a line. Step 4 is to draw the representative rectangle. And step 5 is to figure out, this is identify a big R and little, identify big R and little r like we talked about before. And step 6 is to integrate. Now the volume for a dishwasher, not a dishwasher, a disk or a washer is pi times the radius squared. And that's why I say area. So when we find the volume, what we're going to do is, in order to add up all the volume of the slice that we make, we do pi times the integral of a to b of r squared minus little r squared dx. Or dy, depending on which one we're solving for.
146.
Okay. So a disk or a washer is always perpendicular to the axis of the representative rectangle is always perpendicular to the axis of rotation. That's how we know it's a disk and not a shell. A shell is parallel to the axis of rotation with the representative rectangle. Now let's work with an example. Let's say y equals x squared, and x is bounded between 0 and 2. And this entire function is rotated at the x-axis. First, I'm going to draw my function. So y equals x squared. So 0, and we'll say this is 2. So y at 2 is going to equal 4. So this is going to be 4. And we're looking for this area right here. So since we're rotating around the x-axis and we're a disk, we're going to draw this representative rectangle perpendicular to the axis of rotation. And the distance from the top function, y equals x squared, to the axis of rotation, we're going to call this big R. And then the height from our lower part of our representative rectangle and axis rotation, this is going to be little r, which for this in this example is going to be 0. So now we know that this is going to be dx. So what we've done, because we know it's a change in the x value, and we know our limits are 0 and 2, which were given to us. So now we're going to integrate, because now we've done step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and step 5. Now let's integrate this function. Oh wait, we haven't done this. Okay, so r is going to equal this height, which is x squared minus 0, which is r equals x squared. Now to integrate this. First we're going to rewrite the formula as r squared minus little r squared dx. Now we're going to plug in our values. 0 to 2 of x squared squared. I was trying to do it just for the sake of having it there and keeping it consistent.
4 minutes 35 seconds.
So now let's integrate this. Oh, this is x to the 4th overall. Okay, so this is going to be x to the 5th over 5 from 0 to 2. And so it's going to be
5 minutes.
5 cubed over 5 minus 0 cubed over 5. So our volume is going to be pi 125 over 5, which is basically pi over 25. Thank you for watching this video on the disc and washer method.